Welcome to our Crested Gecko care guide and setup tutorial. In this video, we're going to be covering all topics from tank size, suitable substrates and decor, all the way through to heating and lighting components. Now, this video is going to be a tutorial on setting up a naturalistic enclosure, but we also do have a video on a bioactive setup, and the link can be found in the bottom of our video in the captions. Now, we're going to start this video off by talking about terrariums and what sizes are suitable for crested geckos. Crested geckos are an arboreal type of gecko, which means that they spend a lot of their time up in the air and will benefit from vertical space rather than horizontal. As a minimum, adult crested geckos should be put in an enclosure measuring 45-45 by 60 centimeters high, but we recommend that you go 45-45 by 90 centimeters just to add that extra bit of vertical space for your gecko. Juvenile crested geckos can be kept in something a little bit smaller, but again, they definitely will need upgrading as they get older. Now that your tank's out of the way, you're going to need a whole host of other equipment too. We're going to start off by telling you what you need inside your tank, and then later on in this video, we'll cover all of the heating, lighting, and electrical components that you'll need externally as well. To start with, you're going to need substrate in your enclosure for your crested gecko. This substrate should be placed at the bottom and should be about 2 to 4 inches thick at the base of the enclosure. It's important to select a substrate that can hold water retention and release humidity within your enclosure, as humidity is very important for crested geckos. We actually recommend ProRep's Cresty Life as a suitable substrate for crested geckos. This substrate has a free structure and allows water retention within it, but also releases humidity over a long period throughout the day to boost the humidity within your enclosure, making it a really suitable substrate for your crested gecko. Now, if you're keeping a naturalistic setup, this substrate will need to be spot cleaned daily of any feces and then fully cleaned and substituted for a new substrate at least once a month. Now, this takes us nicely into our next topic, which is humidity. Substrates play a vital role in maintaining humidity in crested gecko enclosures and is definitely why they are needed. The substrate should be sprayed down lightly and always kept slightly damp but not waterlogged to help with this. Crested geckos should be sprayed down briefly in the morning and then also sprayed down again in the evening for a little bit longer. This will help to spike your humidity within your enclosure to about 80% for a few hours. And this should happen approximately twice a day, allowing your enclosure to dry out between these periods to around 50% humidity. It is important to make sure that you get this drop, because if your enclosure is constantly at high humidity, it increases the risk of moulding within your enclosure and also other issues like respiratory problems within your crested gecko. If you want to still allow your gecko choice and allow for more humid areas within these dry periods, you can always provide moss within a humid hide in your enclosure, and then your gecko can use these small microclimates if they want to. To measure your humidity within your enclosure, you're going to need a suitable hygrometer. These gadgets allow you to measure the humidity within your setup and allow you to make sure that they're within the correct range. Like mentioned earlier, you'll need to make sure that the humidity spikes to around 80% for a few hours a day and drops to no lower than 50% throughout the rest of these periods. Now that substrate's out of the way, we're going to go over the rest of the decor that you're going to need to incorporate within your crested gecko enclosure. It's important to make sure that you have plenty of options so that your crested gecko can seek refuge and feel comfortable within their setup. You can use things like hanging plastic or silk plants within your enclosure. This creates lots of foliage and allows your crested gecko lots of refuge and hiding spaces. You can add lots of branches across your enclosure in horizontal and vertical ways to allow perching opportunities and climbing opportunities for your crested gecko. You can also add cork branches and tubes. The tubes allow lots of shaded areas for your crested gecko to hide between during the daytime periods. Lots of people like to add things like hanging coconut hides in their enclosure, as these add lots of safe refuge and hiding opportunities in the high up areas of your setup. Providing plenty of decor within your enclosure also allows your crested gecko choice. There should be areas of shade at the bottom of the enclosure where humidity may be lower, and also there will be temperature drops as well. And then further up in the enclosure, there should be some small open areas where the temperature can get hotter and your crested gecko can choose to cryptic bask if they choose to. So we're nearly done with the inside of our crested gecko terrarium. We have our substrate and we have plenty of decor, but we're also going to need some feeding ledges that you can pop your food and watering as well. Feeding ledges are important for crested geckos as they don't often come to the ground, so arboreal feeding ledges make a great substitute for putting water bowls on the floor. You can buy these with suction cups or magnets, and they simply connect to the side of your enclosure, allowing you to feed and provide water to your geckos in the vertical spaces. These feeding ledges allow you to provide your crested gecko diet to your crested geckos, and this is a very important aspect of feeding them. Crested geckos rely on crested gecko diets to thrive, and these contain most of their nutrients, vitamins and minerals that they need to live long and healthy lives. Foods like BlueRiver Diets contain everything that your crested gecko needs and should be fed to them in these arboreal feeders. It's important that you also feed live food insects, and I think this is something that people don't speak about enough. Live food insects allow your crested gecko to hunt and move around the enclosure, and they provide mental stimulation to your gecko, allowing them to exhibit normal behaviours. You should be feeding live food insects to your gecko at all stages of life. There's plenty of variety of live food insects you can feed to your crested gecko, and some of these include the likes of crickets, locusts, silkworms and dubia cockroaches. So now that we've covered everything you need inside your crested gecko terrarium, we're going to talk about all of your exterior components like your heating and lighting. First of all, we're going to start with the heating components. Now, crested geckos are a temperate species of gecko and prefer it a lot lower in temperature to a lot of other reptiles. Crested geckos like to take it anywhere between 20 to 28 degrees Celsius. 28 degrees Celsius is the maximum, and this would be your daytime temperatures. They can take it as low as 18 degrees as a minimum during the night, and it is important to make sure that they do get this drop during the night. Depending on which country you're from or what season of the year it is, you'll need to provide some source of heat to make sure that you're achieving these temperatures of 26 to 28 degrees Celsius during the day. We recommend using a flood spot bulb to achieve this. This should be placed on top of your enclosure within a lighting dome and never inside the enclosure, as your crested gecko can get onto this and burn itself. You'll need to make sure that you use a low wattage to start with, and make sure that you're reading temperatures to make sure that they're within an appropriate range before adding your crested gecko, as it is important to make sure that you never overheat them at that the temperature does not reach in excess of 28 degrees Celsius. These bulbs emit infrared A, which helps reptiles to warm their bodies through. Crested geckos are nocturnal but are known to cryptic baths, so it is an important aspect to provide them with this light so that they can choose to bask if they so wish. And providing them with this source of infrared A allows your crested gecko choice, but also providing them with lots of decor, like we mentioned earlier, allows them safe refuge and shaded areas to choose to hide in if they want during the day as well. This bulb should only be on during the day to achieve these daytime temperatures, and should be turned off during the night time to allow a temperature drop to around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius and complete darkness within your crested gecko enclosure. If you need to supplement heat during the night time for your crested gecko and keep these readings above 18 degrees Celsius, then you can use products like heat projectors. These allow you to warm your gecko's enclosure but don't provide any light source, so are great for not disturbing your crested gecko's day and night cycle. Now that we've gone over your heating components, we must go over a very important piece of equipment, your dimming thermostat. These must be used with your heating components like your heating bulb during the day, and these prevent your bulbs from overheating and potentially causing fires within your house. These are very simple to use, and you simply plug your heating component directly into your dimming thermostat. You then program your dimming thermostat to the desired temperature that you want and place the probe around the area where it will get warm. This probe allows the stat to take readings and will dim your heat source on or off so that it does not overheat or provide too much heat to your crested gecko enclosure. Alongside this, you're also going to need your own digital probe thermostat. You can place this within your enclosure, and it will take minimum and maximum readings over a 24-hour period to allow you to track your readings within your setup and make sure that your terrarium never goes below 18 degrees or never above your 28 degree reading. Now that we've got all of your heating components out of the way, we're going to talk about lighting. Crested geckos are nocturnal, but during the day they are exposed to UVB, so it's important to make sure you provide them with low UVB sources. We recommend providing your gecko with a Zone 1 linear UVB bulb and place this on top of the enclosure. Like your daytime sources of heat, this UVB should only be put on during the daytime and turned off during the night to allow your gecko the day and night cycle that it needs. UVB is essential for reptile keeping, and although crested geckos are nocturnal, they are known to cryptic bask, and providing them with UVB will ultimately only benefit their care. You can use electrical timers for your UVB source and also your heating sources mentioned earlier to allow you to program the on and off times of these lighting and heating sources rather than manually having to do these at the beginning and end of every day. If you want to, you can also provide LED lights on your Crested Gecko enclosures as well. These must be put into timers and programmed to only be on during the day and off during the night time. These will help to provide a fuller spectrum of light during the daytime for your gecko and help with their circadian rhythms. However, they are not ultimately important on a naturalistic setup and will come more into play if you're providing a bioactive setup for your Crested Gecko and including live plants. We hope that this video has been useful and provided you with all of the information that you need to set up a Crested Gecko terrarium and to provide proper care for Crested Geckos. If you do have any other questions that you want to ask, please do drop these in the comment sections below and we will aim to get back to you as quickly as we can.